Hey besties, it's been over a year since I created content on social work, and this is not me saying I'm back because I'm not yet back, but let's gradually ease into it. Don't worry, I'm going to have a separate video where I'm going to be addressing a lot of things about social work. But this video is because I've seen a lot of DMs from people that want to study social work. If this video can help and maybe can be my way of soft launching into social work content, then so be it. To clarify, this video is particularly for people that want to study social work mainly at the master's level. Usually you can use it for any other thing regarding social work, but that's the context. So the first question you would most likely be asked, and this is me assuming that we're talking about a one-on-one interview, because your social work interview, remember, this is not just for job, this is for you entering the course, for you being admitted. That social work interview is usually in two phases depending on the school. For my school, University of Lincoln, as at when I was enrolled, I did a one-on-one interview, then a group interview. Some schools do one-on-one interview, then a written test. So it just depends. Today we are going to address 5 questions that they could ask you in your one-on-one interview. The first question, of course, is going to be, why do you want to study social work? Now, when they ask you this question, this is not the time to be rambling on and saying things that have nothing to do with why you want to be a social worker. Firstly, you should have a reason why you want to be a social worker, and you should let that reason shine through as you are expressing yourself. It could be your love for humanity, it could be your personal experiences, it could be your professional experiences, it could be your skills, your qualities. Whatever the case is, let it eloquently shine through. Now, of course, if you are used to my interview guide series, you will know that I would give you an answer, not for you to copy, but for you to have a general guideline of the kind of answers you should be giving. So to answer this question, I would say, I want to study social work because I've always been drawn to roles that involve helping, listening, and making a real difference in people's lives. Social work to me is more than a profession, it's a calling rooted in empathy, justice, and advocacy. I'm passionate about supporting vulnerable individuals and giving them a voice, especially those affected by poverty, abuse, mental health struggles, or systemic inequality. Over the years, I've seen how the right support can transform lives, and I want to be part of that transformation. I'm particularly interested in understanding the broader societal structures that contribute to marginalization, and this course would give me the tools, knowledge, and ethical grounding to step into that role confidently and competently. Social work is not just about care, it's about empowering others and driving change on both an individual and community level. Now, from that answer, you can see that I've listed my skills, the qualities that make me desirable as a social worker, and the reason why I want to become a social worker. Ensure that whatever reason you are giving is going to be quite altruistic. Don't be self-serving. Don't say things that would serve yourself. For instance, everyone knows that social work is on the shortage occupation list, meaning if you are maybe from Nigeria, doing a course like social work can literally give you an edge in terms of visa sponsorship, because they are looking for social workers like crazy. The same way courses like nursing are high in the occupation list, that's the same way social work is. Now, you can know that doing social work will give you an edge in terms of getting a visa sponsorship job, but in that question you should not be saying things like that, because that is you being self-serving. And as a social worker, you are supposed to be altruistic, you're supposed to literally love humanity and be passionate. So you cannot say things like you would earn more money, you would do this and do that, things that benefit you. No, say things that would actually benefit the society. And this does not mean you are being dishonest, because it is okay to want to gain some benefit from whatever you're doing. There is nothing wrong with you wanting to study social work because it aligns with your skills, and also you would love to be in a profession that would guarantee your stay in this country. But of course, in an interview setting, try not to say that. It's just like when you are interviewing for a job role, they're asking you why you applied for the job, and you say, oh, because of salary or because of more money. Doesn't make sense. So don't do that. Now, the second question is, what do you understand about the role of a social worker? Now, this is a very important question, because they're trying to guess if you understand what the role is. Like, you're trying to become a social worker, so do you know what it entails? This is something I always say. If you want to become a social worker, you have to be knowledgeable. Don't just think in the interview you would know nothing and you would automatically be given a seat. Social work is a highly competitive profession, and as such, to get a seat at the table, you have to have knowledge. Now, don't be afraid. You may not know everything, but there's some basics you should know. For instance, why do you want to become a social worker when you don't know the role of a social worker? So this is going to be my sample answer. A social worker is someone who acts as both a support system and an advocate for individuals and families facing difficult circumstances. The role involves assessing needs, developing care or support plans, making referrals, and working with other professionals to ensure that vulnerable people receive the help they need. But it's not just practical. Social workers are also there to challenge inequality and injustice. Whether it is protecting children at risk, supporting adults with disabilities, or helping someone transition out of homelessness, the goal is always to promote well being, dignity, and independence. A good social worker balances empathy with professionalism, listens actively without judgment, respects confidentiality, and works according to the legal and ethical frameworks. It also involves managing complex emotions and maintaining clear boundaries, which is why personal resilience and strong values are so important in this field. Now, I've given you a lot of roles of a social worker all in this question. You don't have to give everything as I've mentioned, but at least, even if you give half of it, it tells them that you know what the job will entail, because social work is a demanding profession. It's not a profession where you just get all cute. This actually work. You are dealing with vulnerable people. They are being entrusted in your care, and you have to understand what that role entails. Question 3: how have your personal experiences prepared you for this course? Now, this is a very important question, especially if you did not study social work at your undergraduate level. Because for me, for instance, I'm a lawyer, so I did not even know anything about social work as an undergraduate. It was when I wanted to do my master's, I started learning lots of things about social work, and I was so interested because it was similar to being a human rights lawyer. The only difference is that I'm not in the litigation side in that regard. I'm doing more of the groundwork. I had lots of course mates that did not study social. In fact, I don't even know any course mates I had that studied social work as an undergraduate. So in case you're watching me and you want to become a social worker and you don't even have that undergraduate experience, that's okay. The most important thing they are looking out for is that you have personal or professional experiences that has prepared you for the course. For instance, whilst I did not study social work at my undergraduate level, I worked in a lot of NGOs, and that perfectly equipped me for the course. If, for instance, you've worked in a hospital, that is beautiful. You've worked in an orphanage home, Red Cross, organizations like that, humanitarian settings, you are a perfect fit. And let's say professionally, you may not even have done all of those things, but you've supported someone in your life. I keep saying it. If you are African, you've definitely worked in a humanitarian role. Maybe you supported your grandfather, your grandmother, or your cousin with autism, or someone that had one disability or the other. That is something that has prepared you for this job role. Now, before I give you my sample answer, if you would like us to talk one-on-one, I have a service where you can book that time with me and we can talk about different things. So you can click the link in the description box and purchase that service. Now, let's get my sample answer to this question. My personal and professional experiences have shaped the way I understand human challenges and strengthened my desire to pursue social work. I've had close family members go through difficult situations, from mental health struggles to housing issues, and I often found myself stepping in to offer emotional support, navigate systems, or advocate on their behalf. These experiences taught me compassion, patience, and how to stay grounded during stressful times. On top of that, I have volunteered in community organizations where I interacted with people from different backgrounds and learned how trauma, neglect, or poverty can affect someone's life trajectory. These moments weren't always easy, but they taught me to be present, to listen deeply, and to treat people with respect no matter their circumstances. I believe these life lessons have given me the emotional maturity, self-awareness, and real-world insight that will support me in both this course and the profession. You see that? Perfect. Now, question 4: how do you handle emotionally difficult situations? Now, the reason they're asking this question is because, as I said earlier, social work is a demanding profession. If you are a social worker right now and you're watching me, write it in the comment section so that they will know that I'm not joking. How have you found the profession? Is it smooth like ABC, or does it come with its own share of demands? And this is not to scare you, but to let you know that there is work to be done. Like, the course is not just easy breezy. Even when you finish your studies, the practical side is also quite demanding, and they need you to be a resilient person. You should be someone that know how to handle difficult situations. So when answering this question, you can talk about maybe something that has happened in your past that prepared you for this role. You could talk about you being emotionally resilient. You could talk about you having good boundaries. You could also talk about self-care, because one thing your interviewer would love to hear is the fact that you're not going to just burn out. And because the profession is demanding, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't know how to prioritize yourself, you don't have proper boundaries, you would burn out. And if you burn out, you would most likely be sick for a long time, or even leave the profession. There are people that have left the profession because they could not just handle it. It's a demanding profession. So how would you okay, I think I should stop saying it's a demanding profession, so you will not think it is difficult. Now, I love the soft life. I'm a soft life girly, if you don't already know, or if you cannot guess from this video. Now, the fact that I am in this profession should let you know that anyone can be in this profession. So do not be scared in any way. However, I would not still tell you that it is beans and butter. That is the point I'm trying to make. Now let's move over to the sample answer. I handle emotionally difficult situations by staying calm, thinking clearly, and remaining present in the moment. I've learned that in high stress or emotionally charged situations, people need someone who would not panic, someone who can offer stability. I listen attentively, avoid jumping to conclusions, and try to create a space where the person feels safe and heard. I also reflect on my emotional reactions and manage them professionally. I know that social work can be emotionally demanding, so I actively use self care strategies, seek supervision when needed, and maintain healthy boundaries to prevent burnout. For me, being emotionally available does not mean carrying someone's pain. It means walking with them in it while still protecting your own emotional well being. That's something I've learned through experience, and I'm continuing to build on that emotional resilience as I grow into this career. I've also acknowledged the fact that as a social worker, there could be times when I'm responsible for people. Despite that, I don't have to put my emotions through chaos. And in times when things like that are happening, I know when to take a break. I know when to take supervision. I know when to take leave. Because yes, you are entitled to taking that time off. Even as a student, for instance, when you are on placement, you are entitled to some days off, and you are acknowledging that. That would tell them that you understand what the profession entails. Now, before I move over to the last point, if you love this video, I want to see a like just give me that like. Now, the last point is, what do you understand by anti-oppressive practice? This is a very important, like, I'll be surprised if you have a job interview. Sorry, I'll be surprised if you have a social work interview and they don't ask you something regarding oppression, discrimination, things like that. And that is because the provisions of the Equality Act state that we are not to discriminate against anybody, especially people that have protected characteristics. That is, don't discriminate against anyone by reason of their age, their race, their sex, their sexual orientation, their maternity status, their religion, their disability, gender reassignment, their marriage or their civil partnership, various things. Now, if you want to be a social worker, especially if you are coming anywhere from Africa, I'm saying this because I know what it feels like to come from Africa. Coming here, the culture here, especially if you're abroad or you want to study abroad, is not the same as that in Africa. But you have to make it quite clear that you're not going to be discriminatory, or you will not let your own biases or stereotypes impact how you treat these vulnerable people you are going to be working with, or how you treat even your colleagues. So this is going to be my sample answer. Anti-oppressive practice is a core principle in social work that means actively identifying and challenging systems of inequality, discrimination, and marginalization. It is about recognizing the power dynamics between the worker and the service user, and working to level that power by being inclusive, respectful, and empowering. Whether it is racism, ableism, sexism, or other forms of structural oppression, social workers have a duty to call it out and make sure their practice does not reinforce it, even unintentionally. In real terms, that might mean adapting communication for someone with learning needs, challenging biased decisions in a multidisciplinary team, or advocating for someone who feels unheard by the system. It also means checking my own biases and ensuring I approach each person as an individual, not a stereotype. Anti oppressive practice is not a one time action, it's an ongoing commitment to fairness, social justice, and respect for every person's dignity. Now, there is no way you would answer it like this and you will not get that seat in that interview room, because it shows them that you know what you're doing. And as I said earlier, see, course is, don't worry, I'm not going to say demanding. I'm going to say it is competitive to even get into, because there are many other people that want that course. So if you have the opportunity to interview, ensure you highlight all these points I've mentioned. And of course, if you want me to do a part two, let me know in the comment section. Now, I wish you the very best for your interview. I really pray that if this is gospel for your life, you get the course and you excel very well in it. Now, I'm going to put up a playlist filled with social work related content. And of course, until next time, stay blessed, besties. Remain happy and bye.